President Trump referred to efforts to uncover the facts about the Epstein issue as a, I'm going to quote him, a hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, end quote. And he instructed Attorney General Bondi to investigate Democrats, including President Clinton, and that's exactly what this is all about. My Republican friends, say that they are interested in getting to the truth of the Epstein files. I'm on the Rules Committee. We moved 9 times to try to get an amendment considered on the House floor to release the files. And the way we actually had a vote on it was through a discharge petition, because all of you blocked it.
That's not true. That's a, I subpoenaed Pam Bondi for the Epstein documents.
Yeah. It is true. You did block it. You did block it. 9 times in this committee, we voted to make an amendment in order, and it was blocked. In addition to the Clintons, 6 other people were also subpoenaed. Attorney General Barr, she came in to testify. The rest, including the Clintons, all sent in written declarations. Yet this contempt resolution singles them out for partisan reasons. They are actively negotiating with the committee to provide testimony, most recently offering to sit for a transcribed interview, which I guess Chairman Comer has rejected, because this isn't really actually about getting at the facts. It's about playing politics. It's about creating a spectacle. We all know what's going on. Mr. Walkinshaw, isn't this just a political exercise to change the subject away from Trump's involvement in the Epstein files? By the way, the incomplete release of the Epstein files up to this point, Donald Trump has mentioned 5,391 times. 5,391 times.
Yeah.
And not one word about even asking the president to voluntarily come up and answer questions, but I'll yield to you.
I think it's really important to remind the American people about the timeline of President Trump's involvement here. We all know he ran for the presidency in 2024, saying he was going to release the files. Shortly after being sworn in, his attorney general claimed to have a binder with the client list, and she was going to release the files. At some point, very quickly, President Trump changed his tune. He started doing everything in his power to prevent the release of the files. We know, based on reporting, the Attorney General told him that he was mentioned in the files. We now know thousands of times he's mentioned in the file. So I think
you know thousands of times because he released the files.
Half of them. He released half of them only when he was forced to, after doing everything in his power to prevent it.
Is there an update on the Clintons?
And I can share an update. The good news, Mr. Chairman, I think we'll be able to go through door number 1 that I outlined in my opening statement. I understand that the Clintons have agreed to appear for depositions and have agreed to the terms that you laid out in your most recent letter.
Are you aware of that?
No.
Well, if that's the case.
Somehow the media and the Democrats get the correspondence way before we do.
My understanding is that their attorneys reached out to you.
Your staff has it, Mr. Chairman.
You better check with your staff. But if that's the case, why are we doing this then?
If the staff has it, they just got it, because we've been in there waiting for you all to stop talking on the last bill so we could present this bill. And look, you
can
transcribe, they rejected a transcribed, he wanted a transcribed interview. The difference in a transcribed interview and deposition, you don't have to answer the questions in a transcribed interview.
Right, but
they've agreed to the terms in your letter,
I would
Mr.
suggest that you consult with your staff. Maybe Mr. Walkinshaw can maybe make sure that you're.
Yeah, we'll make sure
my understanding is that your staff has been notified of this.
If they've been notified, it's been in the last 15 minutes.
Mr. McGovern, it just has come out in the last, I just received a note.
In the last 2 minutes.
Right, well, then, can we save it? Can we save all?
No. Just because we're going to have to review this and look at this. And look, this sets a bad precedent. So every time we issue a subpoena, and what Mr. Walkinshaw does not say is the Democrats made the motion for all these subpoenas. This was a Democrat motion, and a majority of the Democrats on the committee voted for this subpoena.
We want to hear from everyone.
So you're trying to say it's partisan, and it's not partisan. It's bipartisan.
So, in other words, you're getting everything you want, but you still want to go ahead with the show.
You're talking about something nobody's even read yet, Mr. McGovern.
All right, let me add. So in the recent DOJ release of the Epstein files, there appears to be far more information of prominent people in Epstein's circle, including Donald Trump, Melania Trump, Elon Musk, and Howard Lutnick. Chairman Comer, do you know if top Trump advisor Elon Musk ever went to Epstein's Rape Island?
I haven't seen any evidence that he had.
Do you know
But
if Trump?
look, if anybody that's been to the island, especially if
I
they went to the
reclaim my
island
time.
after he's convicted,
Madam Chair,
we're
I mean,
interested in
I
talking to
reclaim my
them.
time. Do you know if Trump advisor Steve Bannon ever went to Epstein's rape?
I don't keep up with Steve
Yes, sir.
Bannon.
All right, do you know if Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, ever went to Epstein's rape island?
He has said he went to the island with his wife and kids and would never go back. He went somewhere. I don't know if it's an island, but he went somewhere with Epstein.
He said that before. Yeah, so you don't want to subpoena them? Or don't you care to learn if they? ever
I've
went to
subpoenaed
them?
the
Wait,
former
wait.
Republican Attorney General Bill Barr for a hard-hitting deposition, and we subpoenaed Alex Acosta, who served in the Trump administration.
subpoena any of
How
these
many Republicans did Jamie Raskin subpoena when he has? How
So
many
the answer is no.
Republicans did the
So the answer
Democrats
is no, you don't
subpoena?
care. I
This is a
reclaim my-
bipartisan
I- I-
investigation.
it's my
That's
time,
why a
Madam
majority of
Chair.
Democrats
I'm sorry.
on the Oversight
I'm
Committee
sorry.
voted
It's
for this.
my time, Mr.
Chairman
Chair.
Combs,
You
Chairman.
can spread all the propaganda you want in your committee, but it's my time in this committee, and I'm asking the questions. So the answer is no, that you're not going to subpoena.
I don't even know
these
what the
people.
question is.
It was very, are you going to subpoena Howard Lutnick or Steve Bannon or Elon Musk?
We'll subpoena anyone that the evidence leads us to.
Let
If
me
the
come to the
evidence,
island.
we'll talk about it with the committee. We don't just pull subpoenas out of our butts
Chairman-
like Jamie Raskin
I
would
reclaim my
do.
time. Chairman Comer, the Oversight Committee issued a subpoena to Attorney General Bondi more than 5 months ago.
I subpoenaed Pam Bondi for
requiring her to
the
produce-
Epstein
Excuse me,
documents.
Madam Chair, can you muzzle the witness, please? I mean, Chairman Comer, the Oversight Committee issued a subpoena to Attorney General Bondi more than 5 months ago, requiring her to produce all of the Epstein files to Congress by August 19th, 2025. Yes or no? As of right now, has Attorney General Bondi fully complied with the subpoena?
We're still reviewing the 3 million documents to see if that's all of the
So answer
documents or
is
not.
no. Mr.
It's important.
Just 1 minute, if I could. I'm going to ask you all not to talk over each other, but I do have a question something I'd like to ask, if you'd let me real
Absolutely.
quickly.
I'm happy to
Yeah,
yield
real
to the
quickly.
chair.
Thank you. People keep saying, have all the files been released? Does somebody have a total?
No.
Of the files? How is anybody ever going to know how many files
Madam
there
Chair,
are?
when this started,
Mr.
5 or
Walker-
6 months ago, it was suggested that there were between 100 and 300,000 files. We've already had released over 3.1 million files.
Okay, now, Mr.
Mr.
McGovern.
Walkinshaw, why don't you respond,
The
please?
direct answer to your question, Madam Chairwoman, is yes, we do have a number. And we have a number because the Trump administration, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, said there are 6 million files. They collected 6 million files. Now, he says they over-collected, so they've only released 3 million. The law does not allow them to subjectively determine that 3 million of the Epstein files that are in his possession, which he said were over-collected. Mr. McGovern, though, asked a question about the Oversight Committee's subpoena and the Attorney General's compliance with that subpoena. That's separate from the release of files that we've seen publicly, because the Oversight Committee's subpoena does not have the same list of allowed redactions that the legislation that we all voted for has. She's produced to this committee only 30,000 pages of documents, not 3 million, not 6 million. She's out of compliance with the subpoena and not following the law requiring the release of all 6 million documents.
But can we talk about this? I'm
Absolutely.
interested in getting
I
to a
am too.
number. So, well, I'm curious, okay, so she's released over 3 million, you said, Mr. Chairman.
She just released 3 million in addition to the I don't know, 30-something thousand a few months ago.
And Mr. McGovern, you said we know the number? Is that what you said?
Mr.
The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, President Trump's former personal lawyer, said that there are 6 million files. He's choosing to release only 3 million, and he's choosing to heavily redact that 3 million.
So should we hold Pam Bondi in contempt?
She is turning over documents, and what they said is they turned over documents, every document that they're legally required to turn over,
I don't think she's complying with the subpoena.
that
She's
they're
certainly not complying with the law.
allowed by law to turn over.
Well, all right.
There's still investigations. There's class action lawsuits. There's a lot of
Yeah,
A lot of legal stuff still taking place with this, but we want the documents. We want everything. We're reviewing the 3 million. I don't think anybody can say with honesty they've read all 3 million of them. We're pouring through them as quick as we can.
I'm worried about the 3 million that haven't been released. And do we know what's in those 3 million pages that haven't been released?
We do not know.
Have we heard from, have you, because I've been reading the public, I've been reading public statements, but I want to know whether you have heard from Epstein's victims and survivors about the recent release by DOJ? Have you heard of some of the concern of some of the survivors who believe that DOJ is deliberately releasing personal information about them?
See, that's
and while at the same time protecting the men that abuse these women?
you want to
Have you?
It's deeply concerning. I mean, look, the most recent release, we heard from the Department of Justice that they couldn't follow the law because they were taking so much time to carefully scrutinize the files and ensure they did the appropriate redactions to protect the survivors. And then we hear from survivor after survivor after survivor after survivor who was revealed in the release. So they delayed the release to protect the survivors, so they say, and then they failed to protect the survivors when they released half of the files that the law
And the
requires.
interesting thing is that the names that really weren't released are the perpetrators, are the people who abused these women. So again, they victimized, again, the survivors, and they're protecting the people, who abused them. I gotta say that, Republicans on the Oversight Committee have moved swiftly to hold the Clintons
And Democrats.
in criminal contempt. Yet several Republican members of the Oversight Committee notably refused to comply with congressional subpoenas from the January 6th committee. Maybe, Chairman Comer, do you think your own members should have been held in contempt and prosecuted?
So I'm glad you asked that question because there's been a lot of speculation in our Minnesota fraud investigation that there may be a Democrat member from Minnesota that net worth has significantly increased. What we found out, we can't investigate other members. That has to be the ethics committee. So if there was an issue with the January 6th committee subpoenaing members of Congress, which I've been told we're not supposed to do, then they should take it up with the ethics committee because that's their sole purpose, is to investigate other members.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering whether we should recess for 5 or 10 minutes so that you can figure what the Clinton development is, so we maybe can save ourselves a whole bunch of time.
Well, may I ask you a question, Mr. McGovern? Is this going to be the standard practice every time we issue a subpoena? Whoever's in charge, Democrats, Republicans, whoever's in control, every time you issue a subpoena, letting them stonewall for 5 months and then prove that you've got the votes on the floor in a bipartisan fashion to hold them in contempt.
No, I think what the danger here is that the Clintons weren't negotiating in good faith, and you jumped to this.
For
to this
5
thing right here.
months?
Just
Mr.
say,
Walker,
we have seen Chairman Comer has repeatedly moved the goalposts here.
Oh, that's
At our
bullcrap. That is
markup,
not
it's
true.
my
You've
time.
been here
You
3
weren't
weeks.
asked the
You don't,
question.
hey, that's
You
not
weren't asked
true,
the
Madam
question, Mr. Chairman. At our markup, the chairman,
Reporters can't hear you, so, just a moment. You made an accusation, Mr. Walkinshaw.
I'm trying to
That
complete
the
my statement.
Republicans moved the goalpost.
That's right. I'm going to
How
explain
can you
that.
back that up?
I'll back it up this way. We had a markup a couple weeks ago on these contempt resolutions. The chairman laid out his objections to the Clintons' most recent offer at that time. He didn't like that they hadn't agreed to a transcription. He didn't like that they wanted to limit the amount of committee staff in the room. They had said that he hadn't agreed to limit the discussion to Epstein-related matters. He claimed at the time that was untrue, and he did want to limit the discussion to Epstein-related matters. All of those objections that the chairman laid out at our markup a couple of weeks ago were addressed by the offer that the Clintons made yesterday. We now know the additional objections that the chairman laid out in a recent letter have been addressed by the Clintons and their lawyers. So if we're going to continue to move forward, despite the fact that they have met everything you've asked them to meet, I think we've revealed what's actually happening.
And so the question is, are we interested in getting to the truth and the facts, or are my friends interested in creating a spectacle? Or is this all about, no, this, I'm saying, I have we have been on this, Democrats on this committee have tried 9 times to bring, a resolution to the floor to release the Epstein files. Only when public pressure, forced you to cave on it, finally, did we have a vote on it. And now we have a Department of Justice that is half complying.